Educational Information and Communication Technology presents Educational Satellite Television Programs.
Hello, teacher. Hello, students. Welcome to today's lesson on organic molecules. In our last lesson, we learned about a few properties of water. We discussed the density and freezing properties of water. We also learned about cohesion and water's high surface tension. Today, we will be learning about organic molecules. We discussed organic molecules in the beginning of this unit, but today we will learn about the structure and function of these molecules. We will learn about groups of carbohydrates, including monosaccharides, disaccharides, and polysaccharides. Students, let us begin the lesson with a review activity. Please write down the definition of organic molecules.
Students, let's get ready. Begin. Time's up. Let's get back to our lesson.
Hello again, students. Were you able to remember the definition from our earlier lessons? Organic molecules make up living organisms. Organic molecules contain both carbon and hydrogen. Organic molecules are essentially the chemicals of life. Organic compounds are composed of more than one type of element that are found in living organisms. The four major classes of organic molecules include carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, and nucleic acids. Today, we will be studying the structure and function of carbohydrates. A carbohydrate is an organic compound that contains the elements carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. The ratio of hydrogen and oxygen atoms in a carbohydrate is 2 hydrogen atoms for every single oxygen atom. For example, glucose is C6H12O6 and lactose is C12H22O11. Carbohydrates can range from very small molecules to very large molecules. They are called carbohydrates because the compounds have many carbon atoms bonded to hydrogen and hydroxyl groups. A carbohydrate is called an organic compound because it contains carbon and hydrogen. Carbohydrates provide living organisms with energy and act as substances used for structure. An example of structural carbohydrates is cellulose, which is the main component of the cell wall in plants. Carbohydrates are also used in respiration, and they act as storage for chemical energy within the cell. Students, let us do an activity to review what we have learned so far. Please explain why sugars are referred to as carbohydrates.
Students, let's get ready. Begin. Time's up! Let's get back to our lesson.
Hello again, students. If you said that sugars are referred to as carbohydrates because the compounds contain a lot of carbon atoms that are bonded to hydrogen and hydroxyl groups, then you are correct. Good work. Biologists also use the word saccharide to describe sugars. If there is only one sugar unit, it is called a monosaccharide. If there are 2 units, it is a disaccharide. If several monosaccharides combine, it is called a polysaccharide. The simplest form of sugar is called glucose, and it is the most essential monosaccharide on Earth. Glucose is used in cellular respiration, and it is created by photosynthesis in plants. A common form of sugar is table sugar. It is the kind of sugar used in cooking or in products like candy. Table sugar is an example of a disaccharide. Table sugar is made of glucose and another monosaccharide called fructose. As we have learned, polysaccharides are several monosaccharides combined. Basically, a polysaccharide consists of hundreds of sugars combined in a chain. These chains are called polysaccharides. For example, starch. Starches are found in food such as injera or potatoes. Starch is a very good source of energy for the body. Students, for our next activity, explain the difference between a simple sugar and a polysaccharide.
Students, let's get ready. Begin. Time's up! Let's get back to our lesson.
Welcome back, everyone. How is that activity? The simplest saccharide is a monosaccharide like glucose. Simple sugars, like glucose, are the basic units of all carbohydrates. Disaccharides are made of 2 monosaccharides, and many sugar units form polysaccharides. Did you write down a similar answer? If so, well done. As we discussed earlier in the lesson, carbohydrates are used in the structural makeup of organisms. An important structural polysaccharide is cellulose. Cellulose is found in plants. It is one of the carbohydrates used to support or protect the organism. Cellulose is found in wood and the cell walls of plants. Polysaccharides are also used in the shell of crustaceans, such as crabs and lobster. They are called chitin. Chitin is similar to the structure of cellulose, but has a different function. The shells of crustaceans are solid, protective structures that need to be left behind as the crustacean grows. The shell is very inflexible and resistant to damage. Students, let us complete one last activity before we finish our lesson for today. Please determine if the following statements are true or false.
Students, let's get ready. Begin. Time's up. Let's get back to our lesson.
Hello again, students. I am sure you were able to determine the correct answers for each statement. Let us go through the answers together. A carbohydrate is an organic compound that contains the elements carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Carbohydrates are not only small molecules. Carbohydrates range from very small molecules to very large, complex compounds. Glucose is not a disaccharide. Glucose is a simple sugar, also called a monosaccharide. Great work today, everyone. We have reached the end of our lesson. Today, we reviewed organic molecules and learned about carbohydrates. We discussed the 3 categories of carbohydrates: monosaccharides, disaccharides, and polysaccharides. Until next lesson, thank you, teacher. Thank you, students.